Hello, 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 and welcome to episode 3, which is democracy. That doggone woman, she trying to take over the planet. She thinks she gonna be able to rule Krail. She trying to take Ruby's spot. Ruby discovered that planet when nobody was there. So now we got this woman trying to take over. Okay. I don't know what y'all think of Danielle Reed, but I wrote her, but I don't like her. I don't like her. So now she is launching this thing where people should vote to see who should be the leader of Krail after all that hard work Ruby did, after getting women up there with her, women who wanted to escape Earth, who wanted a place to go and get away from the abuse and the oppression and the poverty and everything that goes on, because y'all know that you don't pay for nothing on Krail. What you do on Krail is everybody brings their talent, okay? And whatever it is you can do, that's your contribution to Krail. And this woman, Danielle Reed, with a racist self, is going to try to get up there and do something. But we'll see how this works out, okay? I'll see y'all at episode 4. All right, enjoy. Introduction to the planet Krail, where women work, where women rest, where girls learn, where there are no men from Earth who will survive, where battles are fought, the planet Krail. Scene 1. Camille could not understand why Danielle showed up at her house. They were not exactly best buddies, although she had nothing against this strange girl. What do you mean, Danielle? Understand some things. I don't understand that. Camille asked. Those big, intense eyes stared at her. Backflappian relationships are not like those you have with males on your Earth. I'm still not getting you. You mean we cannot be intimate with them? What is intimacy? Do you understand? Look, Danielle, I noticed you've been side-eyeing me ever since we were out there on Flip. Seems you're jealous because me and Yukai get along or whatever. I am not jealous. I need you to understand that Fleppians are our male counterparts who enjoy wholesome lifestyles and creativity. You would say that, wouldn't you? You would say that. You know nothing about emotions. You don't even know how to laugh. Is laughing essential to life? Yes. Laughing is very much a part of life, and yet, very much. I have laughed before. Well, I've never seen you laugh, and I still think you don't think I'm good enough to hang out with Yukai. As long as you do not hurt him, you will be okay. Just remember, the dynamics of relationships with Fleppians are different from what you have been used to on your native planet. And Dia turned to walk away. Camille watched her get into her vehicle and drive off. She had more questions than answers. What did she mean having a relationship with a Fleppian was different from men on Earth? When her sister came home, she asked her, well, Camille, you see that Fleppians are different than dudes on Earth, okay? It's a whole different kind of world. You see what gentlemen they are. Then why do I feel such a connection with Yukai? He's a Fleppian. I feel more of a connection with them than I do with Earthmen. Well, that's simple, because Fleppians understand their roles as males, I guess. Whereas most men on Earth don't know what their roles as men need to be or whatever. I mean, you know, Andiet is weird. Don't you think so? I don't know. I would say different, maybe. I just don't understand her. I just don't. Camille, just be happy she gave you the goods on how to deal with their men. She could have just let you learn by trial and error. She really did not tell me anything or how, though, Gara. Okay? Yes, she did. You just said, she said, it's not like men on Earth. In other words, however you dealt with dudes on planet Earth is the opposite of how you would treat Fleppians, which could mean you don't have to be as guarded. Think about that. Well, but then why didn't she just say that instead of talking in riddles? Maybe she just wanted you to figure it out. You know, figure out what she was saying. I wasn't here when it all went down, okay? Gara, I tell you, that chick is really from another world. No, she isn't. She's from the world we living in right now. We have to make adjustments now that we've come in contact with those from this solar system, okay? Scene 2. I'm Gen X. I'ma just tell y'all right now, I'm Gen X. The comedian on stage boasted. So, I'm glad to be Gen X. You know why? You know why I'm glad to be Gen X? Because Gen X are fearless. You know, like Malcolm X. See, we grew up during a time of handling business. Gen Z, however, is lazy. Like lazy, L-A-Y-Z. They too busy blowing Z's than handle business. Everyone in the club laughed. Everyone laughed except Andiet, who sat at the table with Dr. Fatima and Jackie. They needed a little comic relief. It was still 2020 and the pandemic on Earth was still ravaging, and nobody was visiting Earth except for the time Dr. Fatima offered samples of a cure for COVID-19, but it was rejected by the FDA and they would not be widely distributing it. Dr. Fatima had cured a few people who came back with the virus from that same sample. It saddened her to know that the world was so crazy they would reject such a quick-acting cure. Y'all know what else? Y'all know what else? See, when I went back to Earth a couple of years ago, y'all know I came here back in 2016. Everybody was like, Piggy, you lost weight, girl. What did you do? I told them it was the Planette diet. No meat, no sugar, no bad sodium, nothing, and no sex. But y'all know what? I appreciate y'all coming out tonight. I mean, come on. I really appreciate y'all coming out tonight. And y'all have a good night tonight, okay? And be safe, even though we ain't got no sex. Are you okay, Andiet? Fatima asked as they headed to Ruby's house. I am different. Different? What do you mean different? I was the only person not laughing. Maybe I don't have emotion. No, I don't agree with that at all. I saw how excited you were when you were reunited with Oki. You smiled, you laughed. Then what happened to me tonight? Maybe Camille is right about me. Camille? What did Camille say? She told me I did not have emotions and I did not know about them, and she has never seen me laugh. You have to ignore that, Andiette. Camille does not fully understand you, and there was nothing wrong with you tonight. You just didn't get the humor because Peggy was talking about something tonight that was from another world. They pulled in front of Ruby's house. Her niece, Charla, had decided to finally join the Planette, and Dr. Fatima could not wait to meet her. When Charla arrived, Dr. Fatima was up north assisting with the medical center up there. The population was growing, and people were starting to occupy some of the northern part of the planet. Although it was a little chillier up there with lows of 60s and highs of 75 on the average. Hi, Charla. How you doing, girl? It's nice to finally meet you, and congratulations on your new position. Charla had been appointed Terrestrial Transportation Director. She had already mapped out a few new roads and bridge designs for direct travel across the ocean from east to west. Congratulations on your new appointment. Oh, thank you. You must be Andiette. How do you know that? Well, my aunt talks about you all of the time, and you're so cute. Andiette smiled, and Dr. Fatima did not miss it. She would have to remind her later that she did have emotions. She reacted to Charla's compliment. Anyway, ladies, I have to get going. I live on the west. It's going to be a pretty long drive back, Charla said, grabbing her purse. Ruby hugged Charla and she left. So, Ruby, I'm sure you've heard, Dr. Fatima said, referring to the fact that Danielle Reed had launched a campaign to get people out to vote for who should run the Planette. She called herself running against Ruby. Well, let's let democracy do its job. Ruby was totally unbothered by Danielle's latest stunt. Scene 3. No sooner than Charla entered her house, she got a call on her computer. It was Danielle Reed. Well, hello there, Charla. I've been meaning to meet with you. By me being head of architecture, I thought we should work together, being that you're on the infrastructure side of things. Well, it's good to be able to do that, and thanks for reaching out. Lots of construction will be taking place in 2021 with the population growing and everything. Oh, yes, Ruby was telling me. Yes, I am excited. We have to schedule a meeting with Yvonne too, being that she's the utilities director. Oh, absolutely, darling. We need to stick together. Yeah, that's the sisterhood. I'm talking about us, Charla. Us? I'm not following you. Charla was nonplussed by her statement. Well, Charla, just look around you. Everyone on this planet who has any power just about is non-white. Administrator of hell is Oriental. Food administrators are Oriental and Negro or African American. Engineering director is African American. Director of academic education are African American and Hispanic. Only 3 whites are directors of anything. And there are many directors on this planet. Even that little alien Andiette has a position. What is she anyway? Danielle, I won't be able to get on board with that type of thinking. Because you done drank the Ruby, eh? Ruby happens to be my aunt. Oh, well, that explains it. You being selected because you're family. Otherwise, she would have given that position to a black woman or an Oriental woman. This conversation is over, Danielle. Okay, whatever you desire. But you'll one day learn that I'm right. And when I become head of state, you'll thank me more. Charlotte shut her computer down without another word. Danielle's racist inferences bothered her. Ruby had never been racist. Stands the reason she selected people based on their skills, not their race. She was thrown off by the fact that any woman on the planet would embrace the ideals of people on Earth. She did not come to the planet for that. She called her aunt and told her about the conversation with Danielle. I'm not surprised, Shala. Danielle's own actions will eat her alive. It did not take long for me to figure out she was a racist when she first came here. Then why didn't you send her back? The board would never approve of that. Aunt Ruby, she's running to take over. Can you imagine what this place would look like if she won the election? I have confidence in the residents here that they would never vote her in. I wouldn't count on that. I heard when her trial went down, it was 7-6 in her favor. That just might happen on this. Could be a close election, but in her favor. Well, I wouldn't worry. What you need to do, Aunt Ruby, is get your campaign together. Because she's obviously getting hers. But Ruby did not feel she should have to do all of that. Her working reputation spoke for itself. Danielle, however, had a lot to prove. Days later, when Charlotte went out for an early run in the morning, she noticed all types of yard signs with Danielle's name on them. It did not take long for her to realize that Danielle Reed was quite popular in the West. That's when she thought it was time for her to move either out east or up north. She had only been on the planet a couple of months, but she was sickened by the support of someone so bigoted.
I know what procrastination brings. I'm not too mature to love. My heart is soft and mellow like a dove. Remember that hasty brings much shame, especially when dating is a game. 'Cause it's never too late to love, never too late to just say what you feel, never too late to sing. You reach the point where you know many things.
Scene 4. I will make sure that everyone here on the planet will be treated fairly, just, and protected. Ruby Severs has demonstrated biased treatment towards some of us, and she's out of touch. Don't you want someone younger and more in touch with what is going on the ground level? The women stood on the debate stage. On the advice of her niece, Ruby decided to have a debate with Danielle. Although she felt her work spoke for itself, that was not the point. Ruby's rebuttal was this. Apparently, Miss Reed has not been on the planet long enough. Either that, or she's blind or doesn't pay close attention. Ruby went on to describe her voyage to Krail, how she did not keep that great planet to herself, but wanted as many women as possible to join them. Women who wanted a better life. Women who wanted peace. For the women of Krail. Therefore, there is no decision I have been a part of making that was not in the best interest of the citizens of Krail. In fact, although I may have landed here when there was no population, I have encouraged and invited other women in the decision-making process. The moderator then spoke up and said, Miss Reed, you were on trial for endangerment. Why do you feel you were treated unjustly because you had to have a hearing because of this? As I stated before, I feel this was unjust because a person cannot even make a mistake without having a hearing to be deported. I mean, let's face it, I did not conspire to have Andiette kidnapped. I had no hand in that, and neither did I order it. Miss Severs, your rebut? Let me remind the people of Krail that Miss Reed's family not only conspired but carried out this kidnapping by placing Andiette, our fellow citizen, to be captured and taken to a location where she had neither a defense nor protection. Miss Reed's brother, Congressman Calvin Reed, planned to profit from Andiette's ability to cure COVID-19. Miss Reed is a liar and a grand manipulator. Let me just say this. Let me just say, hold on. Nobody is a greater manipulator than Ruby Severs. Okay? She's established a cult following on this planet. Well, let me ask you something, Miss Reed. Are you part of that cult? Ruby asked, looking over at her. Absolutely, I am not. Then why in the devil are you living on Krail? I live on Krail to help women here enjoy a good life. But you're here nonetheless, though, right, Miss Reed? Ruby was relieved when that hour was over. Her party, which consisted of Charla, Jackie, Dr. Fatima, and Andiette were in the audience, and they headed to the car together. The debate was held at the Central Auditorium in Sister Town, which is the capital of Krail. You did well in that debate, Ruby. I don't care what anybody says, Jackie boasted as they got into the large vehicle that would take them to Lita's restaurant. Thanks. And just think, I hadn't even sharpened my skills. I was there for one reason, to tell the truth. And you did that, Aunt Ruby, and you did very well. But Ruby knew and was humble enough to admit that this election could go either way. You never underestimate your enemy. You would lose every single time. They took seats in the restaurant. Some of the women who had seen the televised debate came over to hug Ruby and expressed their support for her. So, Andiette, tell me, what do you think? I believe people on Krail have faith, respect, and confidence in Ruby. I do too. I think she's trying to run to get control here so that she'll never get kicked off in case she tries another stunt like the one she pulled a few months ago, Dr. Fatima said. Jackie was busy viewing a video on her phone. Ruby looked over and saw what Jackie was viewing. The news in Washington, D.C. was showing how many people had been dying from COVID-19 and how many cases overall of those affected and the deaths. I just can't believe this is still going on. I know, Jackie, I don't understand it either. I cannot describe or understand or make heads or tails of any of this. You mean to tell me Ruby is not understanding something? Wow, Dr. Fatima said playfully. Danielle and 3 others entered the restaurant and sat at a table across the room. Ruby happened to be in the bathroom at the time they came in. Danielle, before she ordered, decided to go to the restroom and wash her hands. Ruby was at the sink washing her hands when Danielle came in. Ruby looked through the mirror at Danielle, who stood at the sink right next to her. I doubt you ever thought anyone would ever challenge you, Ruby Severs. Challenge what, Danielle? What do I have to challenge? What needs to challenge me? I don't own Krail. And what have I done to you? There must be some deep-rooted insecurity that you have, that you feel you need to do something to prove yourself to be better than me. Well, that's the first time I've ever heard you tell the truth. You're right, you don't own Krail. And you know what? You won't either. Ruby said before grabbing a paper towel and leaving her standing there. Ruby would only debate this woman on stage in front of the citizens. She wasn't that high school girl who would fight in the bathroom. That was just childish. Scene 5. This event proves to be a very historical one, as no one has ever made the challenge to ever run the planet. Ruby Severs, the founder, has always designated qualified individuals to handle matters regarding safety and medical health, but has never considered herself the ruler of the planet Krail. The reporter spoke. Charla had gone out for a jog and noticed lots of signs in yards to elect Danielle Reed. She felt she made a mistake moving to the West, as it seemed Danielle had a huge following. She could not even go into a restaurant without hearing people talk about the so-called election. The reporter continued, "Tonight is the night when we will hear the voices of the citizens of Krail and what they want. Tonight we will find out if we will have an official ruler of this globe." This is Michelle Wilson reporting live from KRL News. Once Charla was done running, she called her aunt. "What is the point of all of this, Auntie? I don't understand. Things are fine the way they are." "My darling niece, Charla. My darling niece. Listen, honey. It's about power. Patriarchy has affected men and women alike in a negative way. She's thinking in the way of patriarchy. Power. There is a difference in the mentality of women who have never or hardly been exposed to patriarchy." Well, I would say that that is true. "I am not as worried as she is because she's the one seeking power, not me. I'm just living and enjoying life." You know, I'm thinking about moving over to the East, Auntie. I know I'm needed in this region, but I don't allow anyone to run you away from your home, Charla. I do love it out here and I enjoy my work. Then stay. Stay where you are. You're right. Well, I'm about to get a shower. I'll catch up with you later. Love you. Okay, honey, and I love you too. Charlotte headed to her extra room and looked at the map of the new road she planned will be built. There was a new bridge she proposed that would connect from the west to the northwest, which would make better access to the northern end of the planet as well. She was surprised Danielle would be showing up at her door once she opened it. She had to know by now that Charla was Ruby's niece. "Danielle, is there something I can help you with? You mind if I step in?" "Sure, step in, but I do not have a lot of time today." "Oh, nice what you've done to the place. You know, I designed most of the homes here on the west. Much better than the houses over there on the east, wouldn't you say?" Danielle boasted as she looked around the environment. "What can I help you with, Danielle?" "I just need to know that I have your support. I do not involve myself in politics. Oh, that's a good one. That's a real good one. Don't you dare, Charla. I reckon you are voting for your aunt. And you just don't want to tell me to my face. Charla did not say anything. She did not see the point of this conversation. I'm sure you'd want your plans to be approved for the new Northwest Road now, wouldn't you? Okay. What are you getting at, Danielle? Where is this going? Well, let me put it this way. Some people see your plans for the Northwestern Road as, well, a waste. Charlotte walked over to the front door, opened it, and looked at her. Without a word, Danielle walked out of the house, and Charlotte slammed the door once the woman left. Scene 6. Everyone was glued to their computers, TVs, and handheld devices as they watched the results come in. So far, most of those over on the West had come in favor of Danielle, who was ahead of Ruby at 62%, while Ruby was at 29%. Ruby was ahead of Danielle on the East at 59% to Danielle's 32%, while some were still undecided. The voters on the North had not been reported yet. Jackie sat next to Ruby in the parlor, and Did had come down and made a huge berry cake for the guests, hoping that would at least cheer Ruby up some. This should not have ever come to this, you know, Jackie said. Danielle Reed thrives on power and control. And Did said, they had asked her if she could determine who would win, and Did could only tell them that the race would be close. This is apparently what people wanted, Jackie. Not everyone is going to be pleased with me. I know, but we should have let Kim handle her when she had Did kidnapped last year. And that virus is still raging down on Earth. People are still dying. Ruby could no longer take it. She got up and headed out to the sun porch. The sun had gone down and it was quiet. She figured everyone was in the house watching the election. Sometimes she would hear high schoolers out laughing and walking, but not tonight. And Did joined her on the porch, sitting next to her on the small bench-like white sofa. Are you feeling okay, Ruby? I'm okay, Did. I don't want you to worry about me. I know whatever the result, you will continue to move in the best interest of the citizens of Krail. Oh, thank you so much, Did. She reached over and hugged the short woman. Ruby, what you have done on Krail with your team is a miracle. I wish my family would have been able to see all of what you have done. Too bad they were all captured and killed. You know, Andiat, I wish they would have been able to see it too. I wish I would have landed when you and your family were here. We would have welcomed you with open arms. That is okay. You landed when you were supposed to. Have you ever thought about finding any of your family that may still be alive somewhere? The only other places in our solar system would be Kuzin. Other than that, Dark Planet, the Planet Rouge, and Flap. If they were alive, they would have been on Dark Planet, and I would have found them. And if they were on Flap, we would have found them. What about Kuzin? Kuziners are wicked. They don't allow others to live unless they are other Kuziners. Ruby did not realize there was so much going on out there in that solar system. While she was well familiar with Krail, she didn't know much about the other planets. The door swung open. Dr. Fatima stepped onto the sun porch. Both Ruby and Andiet looked up. Ruby. Yes, Doc. What can I do for you? The results, Ruby. The election results are in. Both Andiet and Ruby looked at Dr. Fatima.